Hi, it is Lindsay from Rented Space and thank you for joining me today. So today is a quick video. As you can tell, my voice, I'm still not very well, but the show must go on. So I was lucky enough on one of my Facebook pages for heritage plants. I won't name the person, but if you're watching, thank you very much. I'm very appreciative. She just recently pruned her trees and asked if anyone would like some cuttings. So I did reach out. I said yes please, and I paid for the postage to be sent. So I do have some plums. So there's 11 types in total. There is sugar plum, satsuma plum, elephant heart plum, plum cot, so obviously a plum apricot hybrid, a Wiggins, which for some reason I now can't remember what that was, but I've already written the tags out. A Briggs red May peach, a Corella pear, a Beau Basque pear, a divinity apricot, gold rich apricot, and a Travat apricot as well. So I have, as you can tell by the dripping, I don't know if the camera is actually getting it, but I have pre-watered all my pots. And like I said, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 varieties, 11 pots. There is 3 to 4 cuttings in each one. So I am going to get them. I will work out the top from the bottom, obviously. I will give them a slight prune because obviously they have calloused. I will dip them into my cutting powder and then I will plant them. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Now, first one is the satsuma plum, and I do have 4 of those. So I'm not sure how many I will be able to get to propagate. Sorry, my plastic bag's going. But I'm going to hopefully get at least 1 or 2 of each, but I'd really like them all because then I can share them. So I'm just trimming, dipping, and poking them in. Okay, so one of the smaller pots I'll probably show you a bit better, but I've just randomly started in one of the big pots. So when I'm cutting them, I am cutting them on an angle. So I don't know if you can really tell, but on an angle. Then just dipping and then putting them into the soil. So I will get them in. Now, you don't have to use the cutting powder. You can use honey, and sometimes I do that as well, but I just don't have any honey at the moment, so I'm using what I've got. So I'm just going to go through and put these in. Now, I do prefer to water previous to planting, and then I generally will then always water again afterwards. The only thing that may be slightly different would be carrot seeds because they're so small they disappear. But when I'm doing cuttings, I pre-water and then post-water. So the next one I'm doing is my Wiggins, and again for cuttings. So cutting this one's a little bit thicker, so I might have to get a different pair of scissors for this. There we go. So on an angle, dip into my powder, and I will show you. So I just stick it in. Okay. And stick them in. Now it does depend on the size of the cutting I have and the type of cutting as to how deep, and sometimes it purely depends on the pot and the soil as well. So I'm very excited about having these plants, and obviously I'm hoping that they all grow, and if they do, great, I'll have some to share with other friends, and if not, then the ones I'll be very excited about the ones that do grow. So the next one is my Corella pear. So I've already pre-written my tag is on used cardboard cutlery at work, as I'm sure like a lot of places now, we don't have plastic anymore, and I am a big believer in reduce, reuse, recycle. So I bring them home when I've used them, and I use them as labels. They obviously only ever last one season, but I'm okay with that. And then at the end, I do put them into my compost. They are food grade, which is why I put them into the compost. Okay, so, and I figure at least that way it's not just being thrown straight into the bin. Now I've slowly, the last 12 months actually, I've really increased my fruit trees. So when moving to this property, I really only had an avocado, 2 fig trees, and three passion fruits. I've now got 9 passion fruit vines, big ones. I have lots of little babies behind me on my table there. I have a cherry tree, a nectarine, a peach already, which had just started, like you can see they're getting ready to start flowering and budding up again, so that's a bit nice. What else have I got? And recently I've just got raspberries, 4 raspberries, 2 different varieties, 2 thornless blackberries. I've got a native plum which I bought a little while ago, and it's only just recently been potted up. Some mulberries, again, cuttings that I got from someone else who had planted them. And so I've got 3 mulberries. What else do I have? I think that's it for fruit. I've obviously got elderberries, which I also propagated from cuttings. So I obviously have not obviously, I do also have lots of rosemary, a couple of plants that I bought, the rest I've self-propagated, lavenders, I have my chilies, I did actually get rid of my capsicums at the end of just recently. They didn't make it very well over the winter with all the rain we've had, and they are actually 2 and 3 years old, so I didn't mind so much that they had to go. They've lived a very long and productive life, so they did go into the compost bin. But slowly, oh, I've got another avocado and a mango as well. So I've now got the big avocado and the little avocado. But slowly I'm getting lots more. Remember, and I have to tell myself this a lot, homesteading isn't a race. We don't have to be better than everyone else. We don't have to be at the same time as everyone else. As long as we enjoy our path of getting there. Self-sufficiency is not something you just wake up one morning and decide you're going to do, and then by that afternoon you've accomplished it. Self-sufficiency is a very slow progress, and you can't learn everything in one day, just like Rome wasn't built in a day. So don't ever judge yourself by what other people are doing, because we are all on our journey and we're all on a different path. So, and like I said, I do have to remind myself that a lot, because in all honesty, I'm very impatient. I push myself very hard. I like to be the best that I can be at everything I do, but I also have to remember that we all need help, and we all have to get there as we can. It does cost a bit to get here. I was lucky enough, like I said, to get these cuttings for free, so it only cost me the shipping. And when I get cuttings, which is what I try and do, get a lot of cuttings and grow from seed and things like that. Oh, which reminds me of my lemon trees. I have some lemon trees, and I have one orange tree that survived, but the others got completely destroyed with all the rain we've had. But I do, and I know that everyone says you don't grow lemons and are like citrus from seed, but I like to use the leaves, so I'm happy if they don't actually fruit. At least I've got those, my elephant hearts. At least I've got them for when I want leaves. So, but for my birthday recently, I was lucky enough to, my beautiful babies, and my husband bought me a pressure canner. So I finally have one of those. So that will be my next learning step in the homesteading realm. I'm slowly getting there. I'm making quick progress of these. So pretty much most of them so far I've had 4. The Plum, Bosque pear, sorry. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just purely, they were all wrapped up in tissue and moistened, kept nice and to keep them in the post. And how do you propagate? Do you go straight in with the powder, the honey? Do you just put them in the dirt as they are? The sun is going down, and it's kind of, every time I turn around it's in my eyes. It took me a little bit to get you in a right spot this afternoon. I'm just packing them all up and putting them into one bag to keep it neat, because it's still quite windy out here. A lot better than it has been. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 left to go. So we'll just, I just sort of put the powder on. Oh, I did put my taggy in this one, Sugar Plum. Dip and stick. What I'll do is when I go inside, I'll separate the tissues from the bags, and the tissue can go into the compost bin, so it's not so it can be reused for there. Now 70. Anyway, like I said, thank you very much for joining me on this video today and spending a bit of time with me in my garden. My aim is to every month to add something to the homestead. So whether it's some more chickens or some more fruit trees, more seeds for gardening, for planting, excess compost or fertilizers, getting new manures in. But as long as I'm adding something, even if it's learning, you know, for instance, like I'm about to learn my compost. I'm about to learn my pressure canning. So that will be something that I'm learning. I have read the book a few times, and but until I'm 100% better, which it's definitely been a journey, I will not be tackling that, because I know I need to be on my, I guess, the best I can be brain wise. And at the moment, being sick, my attention is definitely not the best. So I will just, as much as all I want to do is get in the kitchen and start canning, I know I have to be smart and responsible about it. So it will be a thing I do in a week or so, I think. And we are up to the last one. And I've lost my tag. I'm missing a tag. Why am I missing a tag? Oh no, it's alright. I already put it in. I got too ahead of myself. Okay, so last ones, and 4 in this one. So every one but one had 4 in it. So that's pretty groovy. Very exciting. It is coming up time to start planting out the rest of my, well, to start planting seeds ready for spring, which is just around the corner. It felt like it was never going to get here, and now it's just kind of gone, hello, I'm right here. Okay, so like I said, thank you for staying with me, and while I've planted up my beautiful new fruit cuttings, and I will be watering them in a minute, but so I've just put all the rubbish in there, and my little cuttings are in my pot with my tag. So I will keep looking after these and just seeing how they go, and I will show you how they go in future videos. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks again. Bye.